One of the biggest newcomers to the MCU would be the Alpha Flight Team, the so-called Canadian Avengers, a team that has a lot of diversity and incredible members, ones that could help broaden Marvel's views of their fictional world, as well as bring a lot of new things to the mix. And with that in mind, join me as I take a first look into the team and tell you everything I know so far. Ever since the end of the Infinity Saga, it looks like Marvel is ready to take on even greater feats, which can be seen from their narrative of the movies that were released after it, and the ones coming up. A story that will further the exploration into the unknown, widening their aspects, as well as a whole lot of new characters that are yet to make their debut in the MCU. Which brings me to the topic of Alpha Flight, a team that could potentially be one of the biggest surprises of the MCU. A team that can be described as the Canadian version of the Avengers, a super team that is always ready to help. And with that in mind, let's dive right in. Being a property of Fox until 2019, which was then bought by Disney, was the chain of the notion that made a movie or a series regarding the characters and the team as a whole quite possible. You see, a few years back, there were some rumors of the Alpha Flight coming to the MCU as some part of a connection to the X-Men, two groups that have a lot of connections in the Marvel Comics, something I'll talk about more later. However, in recent times, nothing of the sort has come up, but considering the multiverse is wide open, along with the long-awaited mutants, this team could also become part of the MCU. Thus, a clean slate from Marvel will probably be the best thing that happened to the franchise, something that could potentially make this wishful thinking a reality. And without further ado, let's talk more about the team and everything that makes them tick. One of the biggest changes in the MCU was the Captain America Civil War movie, which divided the heroes into two teams after the government decided to meddle with things, an action that saw the Avengers break up, which is also the case for the Alpha Flight Team. They were also run by the government, which could make a very good place for Marvel to start things off, form some kind of an origin story that would involve the government, with the team itself offering a completely different dynamic from anything we've seen before, both from the side of the Avengers as well as the Guardians of the Galaxy. And before you jump the gun of where they've been so far, well, I'm here to tell you that if done properly, an origin story can be improved greatly. And Marvel is the one company you would give such a task and tie them into the MCU's past. Strangely enough, the team itself in the comics was greatly inspired by the likes of the Fantastic Four, a team that would defend the United States of America with James Hudson, a writer at one point, and the one who smashed that like button just like you should do if you haven't done it already. On the more serious side, however, he's the one who shifted their actions north of the border in Canada, a place where the team's primary directive became the search for and development of powered and gifted beings in the country. With the rumors of Alpha Flight's debut in the MCU, put together with the excitement that the Fantastic Four confirmation brought in, the arrival of the team cannot be omitted, with the Alpha Flight Team, after their arrival to the MCU, breaking away from the government and eventually establishing Canada as their new home. One of the biggest things about this team is the diversity in character it brings, with characters who have proven likable by the fans, both because of just how different they are between them, as well as all the bits and pieces they bring to the table. There is also a hierarchy in the team, as any other team I suppose, and if a hero decides to join them, they would have to join the Gamma Flight, a bottom tier of the team, and work their way up to the second tier of Beta Flight, and eventually rise through the ranks, finally receiving the acknowledgement and becoming part of the Alpha Flight. The core team members, for instance, Aurora and Guardian, have even mirrored certain powers when compared to the Avengers, as well as the likes of Sasquatch, Northstar, and even Shaman and Snowbird, with some of them having the same traits and dynamics of Earth's mightiest heroes. So when you look at it, this is not a team that should be taken lightly, right? The setting of the team is also an interesting thing to be taken into consideration, because if we reflect upon Avengers' previous events, they all took place on American soil, with the battles in Sokovia, Nigeria, and Siberia being the only exception so far. Hence, the arrival of the team could broaden up a whole new place to rediscover, as well as all the beauty, the harshness, and all the heroes and villains it could bring in itself. I mentioned before that the team has connections with the mutants, which could significantly reduce the time and devotion a team would need to be a familiar concept with the fans. The Alpha Flight could very well contribute to this, especially if the MCU decides to follow Aurora and her twin brother Northstar, who have also been a part of the Weapon X program at some point, bringing all of us here a little bit closer to the next Wolverine character that is bound to become part of the MCU. There are also two versions of the team before us, with the first version of the team being the one I talked about, their actions within Canada and all that, with the second version of the team probably being the one Marvel intends to use, as the seeds might have already been planted within the MCU. And of course, if Marvel decides to use the second version of the team, it would be none other than Nick Fury to bring them in, seeing how he's been seen kicking off some new branch of S.H.I.E.L.D. in space, a footage from the end credit scene from Spider-Man Far From Home. The other big thing I wanted to mention is the connection the team has with the likes of Captain Marvel, who has proven to be one of the most powerful heroes of the MCU. And to think that she was a member of the team at one point in the Marvel Comics, you can imagine just how powerful and dangerous the Alpha Flight team actually is. As part of the team, Captain Marvel was nothing short of integral. She led the team in outer space, and knowing that Captain Marvel was forced to cover a lot of ground throughout the universe, as we came to learn during the fourth Avengers movie, she would very well be the one character to bring the team to the MCU, with her not bound to Earth, as she would have members of a team she was once part of in the midst of things, whenever and wherever help is needed. There have been a lot of speculations about the arrival of the team. However, up until this point, nothing has come of it. But recent interviews with Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige could be what will bring a change to all of this. Feige deliberately said that he is up to hit that subscribe button and to ring the notification bell. But in reality, he said that he's up to a project of the sort, something he had an eye on since Disney's acquisition of the Alpha Flight property back in 2019, which was a factor even before the Disney Plus streaming platform came to play, which is yet another option for Marvel to take and bring the team in a TV show of their own, one that would tell the origin story of the team and its members, and as the series progresses, the team's connections to the wider MCU. Keep in mind this is all speculation. Thus, temper your expectations and be cautious about this news. But always keep an eye out for any new details regarding the topic, as they can come up at any given moment. See you in the next video!